intense overproduction of agriculture, leading to a lot of extra emissions of nitrogen, of methane, which is leading to a lot of, a higher CO2 footprint worldwide. Can you just go back to the previous slide, please? So I'm here because as I get older, I'm starting to become a more of an idealistic person. I see the challenges that, for example, with the avocados that Africa faces. One of the people, the panelists sitting here earlier on, some of these small growers, they lack the right infrastructure. They lack electricity. So when they've harvested, and I come again with my example of the avocados, they don't have possibilities to cool it down, which is leading to, shelf life problems down the road, right? I'll keep my professional interest for later. I'll put that out there now already. I'm hearing a lot about collaboration within COMESA and from COMESA to the EU, but I'm not sure, and I've heard about trade missions, which I didn't know about. There is a large group of importers and retailers in Europe. They've assembled under the name of SIFAV, S-I-F-A-V. I don't know if you know these group of people. I'm a very small importer. But these guys, we're talking about, leading importers and retailers, have joined forces to sustainably import, amongst others, from Africa. So that's a name that I really want to put out there, SIFAV. ITC is a major partner also organizing trade missions. I just want to put it out there. I'm sure that trade missions COMESA is already organizing, but maybe it can create synergy. And why are we here? To engage EU buyers with, some of the people I've already met. And I would like to, maybe later on, today, tomorrow, also speak with other people. What are what's the SWOT analysis of COMESA? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What opportunities are out there? And what are the threats? Next slide, please. So, I'm not going to read it all for you, but these are the products that I trade in together with my business partners. Next slide, please. This is the ideal business model. It doesn't always work like that, but I had a very interesting lunch meeting that there is a reduction in brokers in the African market. So small farmers are working in co-ops which go to exporters, so there's not too many middlemen taking the profitable margin, which is a good thing, I believe. And of course, I shouldn't be saying that because I am a middleman, but Next slide, please. So these are the things that we do. We're certified organic. Demeter is biodynamic. It's very interesting for the German market. HESAP, global grasp. We do the residue. Very interesting topics also I heard on today. But again, we can continue talking about residues, but in about 16 years, no residues are allowed. So we need to go back to biopesticides. How can we, combat the pests in our crops, in our production, the way we did it in the past, right? Naturally friendly, friendly to nature. Next slide. This is where I'm active, most part of Europe. Next slide. This is where I source it from, mostly South America. Also very interesting points today about, the location where actually you sit. You sit very close to Europe. Unfortunately, the whole Red Sea issue is a major pain in the where, which is adding about 30 days to your logistics, which is reducing shelf life, which is increasing risks, which nobody wants, but we need to deal with it for now. And also, thank you for the elaboration, one of the speakers, about why the freight is so expensive from Africa. Because you're coming back on empty planes. Next slide. Now, when I was preparing this meeting together with Ulinke, our partner in Holland, and also dealing with some reruns we did last week, Thursday, Friday. I wasn't sure of the audience, so a lot of these things that I've put up here, you might already know. So iFoam has a lot of helpful data on how to get your certification up and running quickly. But as I was speaking to people here today and yesterday, I think that's, you know, under control. The ITC standards, again, also a very helpful data or a website where you can get a lot of valuable data. Next slide, please. Now, I really like my organic produce. Let me give you a small bit of background, which I should have started with. I've been in the, I'm self-employed now for 11 years. I was working for the greenery, which a lot of the people exporting to Holland know of. It used to be a 2 billion co-op. I think they do about 400, 500 million now. Then I went to EOSTA, probably also a name known by a few of you. It's a big organic importer in Holland. So that's where I learned the tricks of the trade. And one of the things that triggered me most is like, I want to be doing something which makes sense. So selling produce, which has been, you know, has been produced at a cost to nature, is not something I want to put my energy into. And one of the, you know, one of the phrases that caught me on was, per minute we're losing 5 football pitches of fertile soil per minute. 5 football pitches of fertile soil because of the use of fertilizers and pesticides. So if we want to keep on, you know, there was topics about food security. If you want to secure our the food production also into the future, we need to find other ways than pesticides and fertilizers, which is basically depleting the soils. So I've made a list here of easily certified products that can be easily certified organically. I don't know if these presentations get sent around later on, but there's a bit of information. Next slide, please. And I zoomed in on the opportunities and challenges for Kenya. And one of the questions I know I'm going to be asked later is the factors in certification, which I found very helpful information on. There's a lot of initiatives regarding sustainability. Also, I believe Kenya is working hard on capacity building. How can we group small farmers into co-ops? How can we get economies of scale to certify a co-op and individual growers in a more cost-effective way? So, to tell you a small bit about the organic market in the EU, I heard some smart comments about the EU, the European Union. We're not always very working in a united way. In Holland, unfortunately, we only have 4.4% of all our consumption is organic. But for example, in Austria, 30% of all consumption is already organic. So that's not only fruit and veg, but that's also coffee, all the produce that you can imagine. So there's a lot to win still. And I believe if we can manage to streamline processes here, which I heard a lot about today, and COMESA is doing a lot towards that goal, I think we can really win a lot of organic produce in Africa. Next slide, please. Yeah, it was a quick presentation. We'll have the Q&A probably later, yeah? Thank you.
Thanks, Johan. Very interesting presentation. Very challenging. I think you were actually challenging the crowds to share some experiences. So hopefully, when we're doing the Q&A, you hear some experiences on that, and especially very interesting also to learn about the opportunities and challenges that we can, share, not only for Kenya, but also for the other countries that are sitting in the meeting today. So last but not least, PUM Netherlands, or is it PUM Netherlands? This will be represented by Peter van Dujan. Sorry, I think we've both, me and my colleague this morning, we are not sure how to pronounce your name, but apologies to that. So this is a Dutch NGO that has spent over 4 decades, probably that's 40 years, empowering small and medium enterprises globally with a network of more than 1,200 volunteers, experts from PUM supports entrepreneurship, women empowerment. I think people will be very interested to hear about your women empowerment, food security, and climate change resilience, directly contributing to SDG number 8, which focuses on decent work and economic growth. So please, Peter, we would be happy to hear your presentation. Thank you.
Also on my behalf, good afternoon. It's good to see you after lunch. I don't see people, that people fell asleep, so that's nice. It's a nice view, of course. I want to connect PUM with an important thing like continuous learning. That everyone is dealing with that, or should deal with that. On day one, when you were born as a human being, you learn to find your way on your mother's body, right? You have to seek for the nipple, and that makes it possible to get fed. Consequently, your parents raise you and learn you all the things that, the basic things that you should know. Consequently, you go to primary school, high school, maybe to college, and then start working. In your first jobs, of course, you learn also a lot. And sometimes people change jobs after a couple of years, and they have to, again, learn how to deal with... I didn't ask for the next slide, by the way. So on. So if you change jobs, you have to learn a lot. You learn a lot in life, always, in fact. And now, in my case, I've changed positions a couple of times. At about the age of 40, you decide to get a master's degree. So you want to prove at that age that you're still sharp and eager to learn things. And before you know, you're about to retire. And those people that are about to retire have a lot of knowledge and skills and expertise. If they are still fit, and want to help people, they want to continue, in fact, what they were doing before. And that's how people join PUM. So, next slide, please. PUM is a Dutch NGO, a non-governmental organization founded in '78. I remember when I started working in '89 that those colleagues who were about to retire, they started to work for PUM. At the time, traveling was not so, let's say, common as it is now. They had the opportunity to visit other countries, and they had the opportunity to use their skills to help other people. PUM was founded with support of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and also of the Dutch employers' organizations. We are active in more than 30 countries, and we got 1,200 skilled people working for the organization. In 30 countries, we have about 130 representatives. Those are local people that just connect PUM with the customer, and makes also sure that during the execution of a project, everything goes well. Next slide, please. We are focusing on small and medium enterprises, as well as support organizations. And next slide, please. you see that there are a couple of criteria where a possible client has to comply to. So it has is a small medium enterprise of 10 to 250 employees. A company has to be in business for more than 2 years. The turnover has to be somewhere between 10,000 and 5 million euros. And the entrepreneur is committed to be fully involved during the PUM project. I just returned from a project in Sayaya in Kenya, and I had a very good build up a very good relationship with the entrepreneur and the owner of the company. And he spent the full 4 days with me and his staff to get the things that we were looking for in place. Now, in this, you said by the introduction, we are economically, ecologically, and socially driven. Next slide, please. Now, how does it work? In fact, every company might apply to on the PUM side if they want to start a project with us. So if you meet the demands that were shown in the previous slide, then you're at least one of the possible candidates to do so. And then we have a database of 1,200 expert volunteers, and those people from those databases are matched with the project. And if there is a match, the client and, let's say, the expert are going to talk to one another and find out if there is a real match to proceed on. We do projects remotely, but most of them on site. It's about 25% remotely and 75% on site. And to give you an idea, so we do something like 1,700 projects a year worldwide, from which 800 in Africa. And in Africa, there are more than 300 projects that we do in the COMESA region. So there's quite a lot. But then I'm not talking about horticulture only. That's something you will understand. Next slide, please. So, as you can see, that those are the countries where we are active. So, in fact, Africa, Asia, and South America. Next slide. And this is maybe gives you a better grasp of all the economic activities that we are dealing with. So we have a food and a non-food sector that we are focusing on. There's horticulture, agriculture, but also bakery, animal feed production, more than 30 economic activities that we are covering. That is also, let's say, for the non-food sector, talking about building, for instance, or energy, but also enabling activities in sectors as consultancy, marketing, sales, you name it. So there is, and there's also cross-functional activities, for instance, a horticultural enterprise that needs some sales and marketing expertise, and then that match is also made. Next slide. Now, you can see it because of the chairs, but PUM experts are volunteers. So it's all for free. Next slide. It's all for free. I have to explain that who pays what. So PUM pays for all the travel costs, no matter where you have to travel. The expert is a volunteer, so he doesn't receive any money for the projects he is doing. And the client pays for board and lodging. That is the split we've made. Okay? Now, if we look to the horticultural sector, then we're focusing on the well-known crops as cucumber, tomato, sweet pepper, but also on in and outdoor red fruits like strawberry or whatever berry you can mention. Outdoor crops, bulbs, flowers, mushrooms, and also propagation becomes an important one because more and more people see the benefits of using seedlings. For instance, a tomato seed is the most expensive seed there is. If you sow them in the open field, then let's say the germination rate might be very low. But when you do it in a seedling way, then that germination rate is far higher, and so your plants are in fact cheaper. Next slide. Now, if you look at the services, then we of course dealing with all kinds of good agricultural practices, like hey, you want to improve production, you want to reduce waste. Post-harvest is an important one. You can, let's say, harvest a very high-quality product, but if you fail to handle it in a proper way, then it's a waste. Next. Technical advice. So we help organizations to improve on soil fertility, and we help people to gain more knowledge about how to do that. Crop protection, water management, again post-harvest. Next slide, please. And of course, we have also specialists that advise on the inputs of that are required for to grow a crop. Next slide. Now I'll give you 3 examples of projects we have done in Africa. Like I said, I was here in Siaya last week, just visiting a company that was dealing with the sales of fertilizers, crop protection chemicals, seeds, but also knowledge. So they were really keen on a focus on knowledge at a high level to outcompete their competitors. They also had a smart farm, a training center where they did trials, just to convince their own staff, but also their customers, what to choose. And again, as I said, seedlings was also one of the product market combinations they were looking for, was also an issue that we have addressed in 4 or 5 days' time. Next slide. In South Africa, we dealt also with projects to enhance the seedling production. Integrated pest management, of course, is one of the topics that we address to help people to reduce the input of chemicals. Hydroponic systems are projects that come across quite often, and also the organic production of some berries. Next one. In Zimbabwe, we were involved in projects with the breeding and production of indigenous vegetables. I didn't say it this morning, but it might be a very interesting product as well for export. What I see is that many of the exporters and cooperatives are focusing on special products, specialties, so the bulk is neglected. And those African salads, as they call them, have, let's say, high contents of minerals or vitamins or whatever. It might be sold as a healthy product towards Europe. Maybe it's a salad difficult to transport, but at least worthwhile to investigate. Now, in Zimbabwe, we were also involved in supporting an agro-industrial park, and maybe also interesting with respect to what we discussed earlier today, export marketing might be also an activity that can be conducted together with a PUM expert. Next slide. And the other next slide. Thanks a lot.